Hello guys, so my name is Amit. So today we will talk about consistent hashing, right? So in the previous video we have discussed in detail what are the issues we may face in the traditional hashing, right? So what was the issues we are facing with the traditional hashing, right? So what are the issues we are facing with the traditional hashing? So whenever there is any addition or deletions of the server, what having a global impact, right? How the global impact was coming? So all the user request then was moving to different server, right? All the request was moving to different server. So I'll just take 2 minutes to draw the picture, and I will try to make you understand what the traditional hashing is, just for a revision purpose. So what earlier we was doing, we were hashing one user key. So whenever any user request was coming, we were hashing the user key, and we are doing the mod of number of servers, right? We are doing a mod of number of servers. So number of servers is here 3, right? So the number has value, if you do the mod of 3, the value will come definitely either 0, 1 or 2, right? 0, 1 or 2, right? So if it is coming 0, then the request will come to S1. If it will come 1, request will come to S2. If it will come 3, the request will come to S3. So this way we are maintaining that any user, suppose user 1 is logging in, right, and this value is coming 0 for that particular user. That means whenever the user 1 will log in and try to use our applications, the user 1 request will always go to S1. Same way whenever the user 2 is logging in, and if the hash of user 2 and mod of 3 is coming as 1, then always whenever the user 2 is logging in, the request will go to S2. So same way whenever user 3 is logging in, the request will come to S3. So then what is the problem, right? If we can maintain the user request to the same server with traditional hashing, then what is the problem? The problem comes when the number of servers change, right? Suppose your applications are now facing heavy load, right? So now your applications got auto scaled to another server, that is S4, right? So the number of servers now got changed to 4, right? Then so what will happen? So then the mod will happen on 4, right? So now the value will come definitely differ for each number. So how the values differ? Suppose earlier the number was coming 31, right? So if you do the mod, then what was happening? So it was coming 1, right, for 31. Now with 4, what will happen? Now 3. See, so earlier what was happening? Earlier the user request which was going to S2 now go to the S4, right? So that's how all the user request for all the users of our applications is now going to change in different server, So there is a global impact in our applications, right? There is a global impact. So that means all our users for our applications is going to be remapped to different servers. So eventually what will happen? They will lose their session data, they will lose their local data, and the applications will definitely take much more time to generate response, right? So the whole idea to maintain the user to the same server is not getting fulfilled with traditional hashing, right? So now to minimize this impact, right? So another algorithm is there, that is the consistent hashing, right? So now with consistent hashing, what is happening, right? So definitely hashing means, earlier in video we have seen, right? Hashing happens with a hashing algorithm. Suppose I am taking an example of MD5, right? So this hashing algorithm MD5 generate a hash, actually it works with 120-bit data, okay? So that means this particular algorithm will generate the hash value. So it will range from 0 to 2 to the power 120, right? So the value which will generate, the hash value which will generate from this particular algorithm will rely between 0 to 2 to the power 120, right? So now what is happening? you have suppose 3 servers, right? S1, S2, S3, right? So now suppose you created a ring, right? And the ring value is nothing but 0 to 2 to the power 120. This is the range, right? After 2 to the power 120, it will again come to 0. Okay. So we have created a ring. Okay. So now suppose you do hash of S1, right? Suppose I am getting value of 500. If we do the hash of S1, so if you do hash of S2, suppose I am considering this value is coming 2000. If you do hash of S3, now the value is coming suppose 5000, right? So first we do hashing of the servers, right? Suppose 500 is this one and I am placing S1 here, and 2000 is here, I am placing S2 here, and 5000 is here, I am placing S3 here. Okay. So now any user request come, right? So definitely we will do hashing of the same user request, right? So we are doing hashing of the same user request, and the hash value, I am considering the hash value is coming 700. I am considering the hash value is coming 700, right? So that means user ID 1, whenever user ID 1 is coming, the hash of user ID 1, key is coming value of 700. So it will be somewhere here, right? Somewhere here, and the value is coming for user ID 1, right? So when the user ID 2 is coming, the value of, suppose I am considering the value is maybe 900, okay, 900, not 9000, 900. So somewhere it will be here, and I am considering this is user ID 2, right? So same way, suppose for user ID 3, the value comes here in between 3000, and this is where the user ID 3 is coming into picture, right? So another value, suppose user ID 4, whose value is coming maybe 50,000, and this is where the user ID 2 is there, sorry, user ID 4 is here, right? So now who will serve for this user ID 1, right, and user ID 2, right? So the logic is clockwise, you have to come clockwise, right? You have to work clockwise. So clockwise you work, and who is the first server is there? S2, right? So for user ID 1, the first server is available as S2. So that means the user ID 1 request will be served by S2. Same the user ID 2 also, who is the first one? That is S2. So same for user ID 1 and user ID 2, S2 is the server which is going to serve your request, right? So for user ID 3, you go clockwise and you find S3, right? So for user ID 3, S3 will be the server which will host, which will handle the request from user ID 3, and for user ID 4, you go clockwise, you find S1, right? So this way you are maintaining that for every user ID you are doing a hash, and the algorithm is you are finding the first clockwise what is the first server available, right? Now we will add another server S5, okay, sorry, S4, okay. Now we did a hash of it, right? And suppose the hash is coming as 10,000, hash of coming as 10,000. So suppose this is 10,000 and this is the S4 is here, right? So we have added S4 here. Then what is the impact, right? There is no impact. You just check. Still the user ID 4 will be served by S1, user ID 1 will be served by S2, user ID 2 will be served by S2, user ID 3 will be served by S3, right? So then what is the impact? So the impact area is this, right? Because earlier S4 was not there. So any user request which is relying in this particular hash was getting served by earlier S1, but now it will be served by S4, right? So the impact area is much lower now, right? So it is predictable that which particular request is going to be now served by S4 instead of S1, right? So now with consistent hashing, what you have done, you have minimized the remapping of server whenever there is any addition or deletion of the server. So this is the consistent hashing algorithm is all about, okay? This is the consistent hashing algorithm is all about. So what was happening earlier with traditional approach, it was all the users now was getting distorted to different servers. Now none of the users here in our diagram is going to be distorted. Only if any user request was coming earlier in this zone, they will be distorted to S4 not to S1 now, right? So the impact is very, very less, right, with consistent hashing. The impact is very, very less with consistent hashing, okay? So where exactly this consistent hashing is used, right? So any particular server, okay, which have multi-node capability, right, for scaling, will definitely have to use consistent hashing to distribute the load, right? So to distribute the load. So if you see the usage, right, so all is distributed cache, distributed file system, because every distributed technology will have the multiple nodes, right? Sharding database is nothing but any database which has done multiple sharding, means multiple separations of data into multiple node, right? So there they are using the consistent hashing algorithm. In load balancer also we talked earlier, right? For sticky sessions we are using the consistent hashing. For distributed file system also we are using consistent hashing, right? So this is the algorithm and this is the usage, okay? So this is it for today. Thank you so much.